Welcome to the Zombie Story Zone. Get ready for another thrilling tale that will keep you on the edge of your seat. In today's story, The Christmas Feast, a joyful family holiday turns into a chilling nightmare when an unexpected guest brings more than just holiday cheer. Will the family survive the night, or will the infection spread too far? Before we dive into this suspenseful zombie adventure, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and press the bell icon so you never miss a new story. Share this tale with your friends who love a good scare, and don't forget to leave us a comment below. We'd love to hear what you think about the story and how we can make our content even better for you. Now, sit back and brace yourself, because this is one Christmas dinner you'll never forget.
Welcome to the Zombie Story Zone, where the tales of the undead are widely known. Try to hunt, uncover the fright in the Zombie Story Zone.
The snowfall blanketed the town of Pinebrook in a layer of pristine white, the perfect setting for a picturesque holiday. Strings of lights adorned the streets, and wreaths decorated every door. Tucked at the edge of the woods stood the Walker family's ancestral home, glowing with warmth from within. The smell of roasted turkey, cinnamon, and nutmeg wafted from the kitchen as the family prepared for their annual Christmas dinner. Ella Walker hummed a soft carol as she arranged holly sprigs on the dining table, glancing occasionally at her fiancé, Luke, who was chopping vegetables with practiced ease. Luke had a natural charm, messy dark hair, a dimpled smile, and eyes that held a mischievous glint. Ella couldn't help but smile. This would be their first Christmas together as an engaged couple. "This looks perfect," Ella said, stepping back to admire the table setting. "It's missing one thing," Luke replied, sliding behind her and wrapping his arms around her waist. He kissed her cheek and whispered, "You?" Ella blushed, swatting at him playfully. "Focus, chef. Everyone will be here soon." The Walkers were known for their large family gatherings, and tonight promised to be no different. Ella's parents, her younger brother Max, Aunt Linda, and a slew of cousins were expected. Everyone had a role to play, decorating, cooking, or simply showing up with wine and desserts. But one guest had yet to arrive, and his absence gnawed at Ella. Her estranged older brother, Ethan, hadn't responded to her invitation. They hadn't spoken in years, not since Ethan had disappeared after a heated argument with their father. But a week ago, Ella had received a cryptic text from him, "Coming home, save me a seat." By the time the family gathered around the living room, laughter and chatter filled the air. The Christmas tree sparkled with ornaments, and Max was sneaking cookies off the tray when a loud knock echoed through the house. "I'll get it," Ella called, hurrying to the door. When she opened it, she froze. Ethan stood there, bundled in a tattered coat, his face pale and gaunt. His once vivid green eyes seemed hollow, and dark circles framed them. "Ethan," Ella gasped, pulling him inside. "You made it." He didn't respond immediately, his gaze flicking nervously toward the woods behind him. Then, in a low, hoarse voice, he said, "It's good to see you, Elle." The warmth in his words didn't match his demeanor. His hand trembled as he reached for hers, but before Ella could question him, Luke appeared, offering Ethan a welcoming smile. "You must be Ethan," Luke said, extending a hand. "I've heard a lot about you." Ethan hesitated but shook his hand. "Wish I could say the same." Ella's parents greeted Ethan with cautious warmth, their reunion marked by strained smiles. But it was Aunt Linda who noticed first. "Ethan, dear," she said, her voice tinged with concern, "you're bleeding." Everyone turned to look. A makeshift bandage wrapped around Ethan's forearm was soaked with blood. "It's nothing," Ethan mumbled, pulling his sleeve down. "Just a scratch." Ella wasn't convinced. "You need to clean that up." Luke grabbed the first aid kit. As Luke left, Ethan pulled Ella aside. "Listen to me. Elle, I shouldn't have come." "What are you talking about?" she asked, her brow furrowing. "I'm dangerous," he whispered. His voice shook, and for the first time, she noticed his uneven breathing. "You need to keep everyone away from me." "You're scaring me, Ethan. What's going on?" Before he could answer, the door slammed shut. Everyone jumped, their attention drawn to the eerie howl of the wind outside. Dinner was served an hour later. The feast was lavish roast turkey, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce, and Ella's signature gingerbread cookies. The room was filled with warmth, but the tension lingered. Ethan barely touched his plate, his eyes darting to the windows as if expecting someone or something to appear. Max, the ever-curious 16-year-old, couldn't resist asking, "So, Ethan, what have you been up to all these years?" "Max," Ella warned, but Ethan raised a hand. "It's fine," he said, his voice devoid of emotion. "I've been out traveling." Max pressed on. "Cool. Where to?" "Places you wouldn't want to see." The conversation died after that, but it wasn't long before chaos erupted. Ethan suddenly stood, knocking over his chair. His hand clutched his arm as he let out a guttural groan. "Ethan!" Ella rushed to his side, but he shoved her back with surprising strength. "Get away from me!" he shouted, his voice breaking. And then it happened. Ethan convulsed, his body jerking uncontrollably. His veins darkened, spreading like spiderwebs beneath his skin. Before anyone could react, he lunged at Max. "Ethan, no!" Ella screamed, but it was too late. Ethan's teeth sank into Max's shoulder, drawing blood. Panic erupted. Luke pulled Ethan off Max, throwing him to the ground, but Ethan didn't stay down. He snarled like a feral animal, his eyes bloodshot and unrecognizable. "Run!" Luke shouted, dragging Ella toward the door. The family scattered. Ella and Luke barricaded themselves in the kitchen, while her parents and Aunt Linda fled upstairs with Max, who was sobbing in pain. "What the hell is happening?" Ella whispered, her hands trembling. Luke grabbed a knife from the counter, his jaw tight. "I don't know," but Ethan's not human anymore. The sound of shattering glass echoed from the living room, followed by guttural growls. Ethan wasn't alone anymore. Shadows moved outside the windows, and the front door rattled violently. "They're coming in," Luke said grimly. "Who?" Ella asked, her voice shaking. As if in answer, the door burst open, revealing a horde of figures half-decayed, their flesh hanging in strips, eyes glowing with hunger. Zombies. While Luke fought to keep the kitchen door closed, Ella's mind raced. Max was infected. Ethan had warned her, and she hadn't listened. "We need to get to Max," she said, grabbing a rolling pin as a weapon. Luke hesitated but nodded. "Stay close." They sprinted upstairs, finding Max writhing on the bed, his skin pale and clammy. Aunt Linda sobbed in the corner while Ella's parents tried to console her. "It's spreading," Max whispered, tears streaming down his face. "I'm scared." Ella knelt beside him, tears in her eyes. "We'll fix this, Max. I promise." But the truth was, there was no fixing this. The zombies downstairs grew louder, their snarls and the sound of splintering would signaling the collapse of their barricades. "Ella," Luke said, his voice low but urgent. "We can't stay here." "Then what do we do?" she snapped. Luke met her gaze. "We run." In the chaos, the family made their way to the attic, smashing a window to climb onto the roof. The snowy night stretched endlessly around them, and the woods beyond seemed their only option. "I'll distract them," Luke said, his eyes locking with Ella's. "No," Ella grabbed his arm. "I'm not losing you." "You won't. I'll meet you at the cabin by the lake. But if we all go, we'll never make it." Before she could argue, Luke kissed her fiercely, then climbed down the trellis, shouting to draw the zombies away. "Luke!" Ella screamed, but he was gone, disappearing into the darkness. Hours later, Ella and the surviving family reached the lake cabin, freezing and exhausted. Max had grown weaker, but he hadn't turned yet a small glimmer of hope. As dawn broke, the door creaked open, and Luke stumbled inside, bloodied but alive. Ella rushed to him, her relief pouring out in sobs as she embraced him. "We made it," he whispered, holding her close. For now, they were safe. But as the infection spread across Pinebrook, Ella knew their fight was far from over. The Christmas feast had turned into a nightmare, but it also revealed the strength of love and family, a glimmer of light in the darkest of times.
Live tonight.